Hi, I'm Dr. Kathy Kerr from the Edgemont Veterinary Clinic, and I'm here today with my assistant Chelsea and Gus. Today we're going to talk about how to do nail trimming on dogs. When you're a puppy like Gus is, ideally nails should get trimmed about every 2 weeks. When he's more mature, he can have his nails trimmed about every 3 to 4 weeks, but you really don't want to let it go any further than that. Otherwise, these nails will have the blood vessel grow out in them, and it actually gets really difficult to start trimming the nail back without hitting that blood vessel if it's too long in between nail trims. So we're going to start with a little bit of anatomy so that you understand what you're trying to do with your nail trim. So this is a diagram of a nail. And most people get very concerned about black toenails because they don't think they can see where the quick is. And to some extent that's true, but it's a pretty consistent way to see where it's coming up. So this is the pulp part of the nail, and this is the blood vessel that's coming off the pulp there. So when you're trimming a nail, you want to start by just shaving at the very end of the nail. So you're taking that point part off. And as you cut through in that point part, you're going to see some chalky white stuff end on in the nail. So you're looking perpendicular at the end of the nail there. And as you go a little bit further back, you're going to actually start to see a dot come up in the middle of that. When you see that, you need to stop because the blood vessel is lurking just behind that. If you have white nails, that's going to come up as a little pink spot. And if you have black nails, it's actually going to come up as sort of a dark gray black spot. And you don't want to go further past that because you will get some nail bleeding starting. If their nails do bleed, I want you to know that this is not a terrible thing that they're going to have big blood loss from. I know it can look really scary sometimes, but that's not very likely to happen. You can use flour, you can use baking soda, you can use cornstarch, or you can use any of a lot of the commercial products that are out there to pack on the end of the nail. Sometimes even just popping them out in the snow because of the cold will actually start slow that bleeding down as well. The big thing is to make sure that they get lots of cookies and they learn that one bad experience doesn't mean there's going to be a lot of bad experiences, and the next time you'll take off a little bit less and it'll all be okay. So I am going to pass the tools along to Chelsea, and I'm going to give Gus some snuggles here while she shows you exactly where to be trimming according to the diagram.
My name's Chelsea, and I'm just going to be showing how to trim some nails today with Gus here. So there's basically a few different kinds of nail trimmers available. The first one is called the guillotine nail trimmers. They're not my favorite. They are available, but I don't like them because it makes it kind of hard to see where you're trimming. They're kind of big and bulky. Hard to see. There's a couple other ones that are available. I like these guys. Neither of them have guards on them, so they're really open, easy to see. They work almost like scissors. New ones are nice and sharp, which also makes it easier, less of a crunch for the animal as well, so that way they're a little bit more comfortable. So when we start, Gus has some different colored nails, which is good. He's got some black nails, some white nails, and then some that are kind of mixed together as well. So some of them you can see the quick really well, other ones you can't see them so well because it's black. So I'll start by trimming the white nail here first. And it's best to kind of keep them at a comfortable angle. You don't want to pull their foot too far away from them or anything like that. It's a little bit more uncomfortable for them. Basically, I'm just pushing some of the hair away from the nail so I can see what I'm doing. And then I'm just taking a tiny little bit off at a time and just kind of watching so that way I can see when the quick starts. I can see from the side as well with the white nail, which helps, kind of gives me an idea so I know where I'm going. But right now you can kind of start to see that little spot right in the middle there is where the quick is starting, so I'm going to stop right there. Next nail here is a brown one. Kind of see where the quick kind of goes to on there. I'm just going to take a little bit off the end just to start with and just kind of watch just to see. I'm not taking very much off at all, and now you can kind of start to see that little spot there again. I'm going to stop because that's where the quick is starting. With the black nails, it's a little bit harder to see. Obviously we can't see anything from the side here. So I'm just going to start, just take a tiny little bit off here. And right there I can see that I'm already at the quick. You can see the little white chalky area around and then the little dark brown spot in the middle there. So I'm going to stop again. Same thing with this guy here. Because Gus is young, he hasn't had his nails trimmed too much. His quicks are quite long. The more often you trim them, the further back the quick will start to recede, which means that you can take a little bit more length off. But again, I can already see that little spot there, so I'm going to stop. Gus does have dew claws as well. Some dogs do, some dogs don't. Depends if they've had them removed before. I'm also just going to take a little bit off this guy. They do tend to grow a little bit longer because they don't get worn down when they walk, so sometimes you have to take a little bit more off before you can see the quick. So I can see the chalky area on there. Take a little bit more off. Yeah, and now I'm starting to see that little spot in the middle there, so I'm going to stop there. So another way that you can trim some nails is also using what's called a Dremel. We've got one here that we use quite often as well. They have a few different settings depending on which kind you get. We never use the Dremel on the high setting, we only ever use it on the low setting. The high setting tends to go too quickly and take too much off the nails all at once, so the low setting is the fastest we'll ever set it to. Basically, it's similar to trimming the nails, except it basically just sands off the nails a little bit at a time. Works really well for those guys that don't like the crunch of the nail. Also lets you kind of work a little bit slower, kind of work through, that way you can see the quick a little bit easier. So I'm gonna kind of start, and Gus has never had this done before, so we're just gonna give him lots of treats, make sure that he's comfortable with it, make sure that he's not too stressed. And I'm just basically gonna do one nail at a time and just see how he does, make sure there's lots of rewards in it for him too. So I'm just gonna turn this on to low, and then we'll just take a couple nails off. Here, okay. Boy, leave it. Okay. So also when I'm trimming with the Dremel, you can just go straight from the bottom. The only thing with that is that it tends to kind of just leave a blunt edge on the nail. I like to kind of round it off, make sure it's smooth, there's no sharp edges or anything like that left as well. So I'll kind of just go from an angle and just make sure that I'm kind of rounding off everything. Makes it nicer for them as well. So that's how to trim nails with a Dremel. My name's Chelsea and I'm at the Edgemont Veterinary Clinic. Thanks so much for watching, and if you have any questions about how to trim nails, feel free to check out our website or give us a call anytime.